Joining us today. I'm Barbara Bree. I'm the Chief Operating Officer of Blackbird Ventures. I've been a serial entrepreneur in the technology sector in San Diego, and now I invest in early stage technology companies. We're here today with business leaders and entrepreneurs who support Council President Todd Gloria's earned sick days and minimum wage measure. As business owners, we know that success is highly dependent on having a strong local economy. And Council President Gloria's proposal is a great step forward, raising our consumer base and addressing the hourglass economy that is threatening us all. We know that having access to earned sick days creates stronger, safer workplaces, restores work-family balance, and is good for the economy. We also know an employee paid the minimum wage cannot meet the basic cost of living in San Diego. The measure proposed by Council President Gloria will make a huge difference in the lives of hundreds of thousands of San Diegans. We also know that this measure makes good fiscal sense. These business owners are here because they raise up San Diego by creating workplaces where employees can better meet the cost of living and can afford to stay at home when their children fall sick. And from a business perspective, this proposal makes fiscal sense as it maximizes profit margins for our businesses. So now I'm going to introduce the entrepreneurs who are with us today. I'm going to make a few comments and then you'll hear from them. So after me, Jeffrey Brown, the executive producer of Tall Grass, will speak. Then David Gimbel from Voice and Video Rentals. Lincoln Fish, a business executive and entrepreneur. Gabriel Bristol, CEO of IntelliCare Direct, where we are today. And we'll close with Alan Jin, a very well-respected local economist. So as I said, I'm Barbara Bree. I'm the Chief Operating Officer of Blackbird Ventures, which invests in early stage technologies. I've lived in San Diego for more than 30 years, and I've been on the founding team of companies that have created hundreds of jobs in our community, the most well-known of which is ProFlowers.com. Studies show that an increase in the minimum wage will create more revenue in the local economy. It's simple math. Raising the minimum wage raises the floor for all, as more money will be spent. When we improve wages locally, it has a network effect. The money spent by the workers will create the jobs for more money to be spent by more workers. If San Diego takes the lead and passes this measure, the rest of the county will follow, which will strengthen our local economy. I urge tech companies to make sure that their security officers, landscapers, janitors, and clerical staff also earn a good wage and can afford to be at home with their kids when they are sick. Now I'd like to introduce Jeffrey Brown, the executive producer of Tall Grass Pictures.
Hi there, I'm Jeffrey Brown, executive producer from Tall Grass Pictures. I'd like to thank Center on Policy Initiatives and IntelliCare for hosting this event so we can talk about what I consider to be one of the most important issues that's facing us in the business world today. At Tall Grass Pictures, we believe that it's important for our employees to be excellent. And one of the main pillars of that excellence is the ability for those employees to have healthy lives, healthy families, to stay home when they're sick, and also to have a good retirement. And so what we do at Tall Grass Pictures is we share out the wealth that we make out with our employees. And so our business is booming right now, and we feel like one of the fundamental pillars of creating an excellent company is having employees that are highly motivated and bought in to the company, and we feel like investing in those employees helps our bottom line. And so one of the ways that we do that is by paying sick days for every single employee, no matter what level they join. They have immediate paid sick time. So we don't want people coming to work sick, and we want them to stay home and rest and be ready to work and motivated and focused when they come in. Another way that we do that is that we also offer 401k for our employees, and we pay well above minimum wage no matter where people join the company. I was raised on a farm in Kansas, and we believe that teamwork is really important. And out on that farm, you had to depend on your team members. They really had your back. So we deploy that same modality here, where we have an entire team that's working towards a shared goal. And if everyone has a reasonable stake in the rewards of reaching that goal, then we feel like everybody is so much more motivated, and we see a lot more buy-in from our employees, more commitment to projects, more creative thinking, and it ultimately makes our business more profitable with a higher level of customer satisfaction. So when I look out at San Diego, I want to challenge all the business owners out there to take a step forward and pay their employees fairly and offer paid sick time. Because if you're bold enough to do it, it'll help your bottom line, it'll help make a better company, more profitable, more creative, and more highly focused. Thank you.
I'd now like to introduce David Gimbel from Voice and Video Rentals.
Thank you. Hello, you already know that. My name is David Gimbel, and I am an employer, and I've been an owner in 6 businesses, both retail and wholesale, over a 45-year period, and I am an ardent capitalist. Let's put aside for the moment that people who work hard at their jobs deserve a wage that will keep them out of poverty. I have never had any doubt that as an employer, I will make more money if my employees are paid fairly. Treating them as part of the team with decent pay and benefits, plus profit sharing, makes happier people. Happier people, if they feel they are being treated fairly and have a say, will stay later in the day, remain with me for more years, and be more productive. Employers who skimp on wages, illegally rob their staff of deserved overtime, deny paid vacations and sick time, don't make more money, they make less. They have more turnover, more cheating, and less loyalty. Employers who skim create an unhappy atmosphere for customers to see, and they don't realize how much money they lose every day by having employees who just don't care. Also, low-wage workers who have no paid sick time simply can't afford to take a day off. They show up at work no matter how sick they are, their productivity is lowered, and the problem multiplies if they infect their coworkers. Plus, customers are repelled when confronted with employees who are obviously sick. The San Diego City Council's proposal, Todd Gloria's proposal, for earned sick time and a good increase in minimum wage is the right thing to do for people who work and live in our community. It just makes good business sense as well. So it's a win-win for employers too. Thank you.
I'd now like to introduce business executive and entrepreneur Lincoln Fish.
I'm Lincoln Fish. I'm Senior Vice President of a company called Avidine Health. It was a company I co-founded, and then we merged with another firm. I've started several businesses, and my take here is maybe a little bit different. I see so much effort being put into what are we going to do to, bolster every business in San Diego and save businesses in San Diego and so forth. And I hear this discussion about, well, if we raise the minimum wage, we're going to drive businesses out. To a certain extent, my view is if we drive those businesses out, who needs them? Because businesses form because there's a need, and a need that business can serve for a community. Okay? So if a business leaves because they can't afford to pay the minimum wage, some other business will come in and take that place that can afford that. Because I find it extraordinary that anybody would design a business and build projections and plan to pay people at a wage that is essentially poverty. You're creating a structure that basically says it's okay with me that I'm going to pay people at a wage where they can't have anything above the tiniest subsistence living. And I find that amazing that anybody would build that model. I saw some of the arguments that came out yesterday against this program, and frankly, they're silly. I think that as business people, if we're going to form a business, if we're going to start something, we have to say, where do we begin? One of the things I like that I've heard here today is teamwork. I've heard about teamwork, building a business that cares about its people. Those are the businesses we want in San Diego. Those are fundamentally the types of businesses we need to build. So if somebody says they're going to be driven out of business because this is too much more, great, let them go. Let's have somebody else fill that hole that understands the teamwork and working together and paying a decent wage to people is the right way to go.
I'd now like to introduce Gabrielle Bristol, the President and CEO of IntelliCare Direct.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for coming today. I'm very appreciative. My name again is Gabriel Bristow, and I am the CEO of IntelliCare Direct, a customer service call center right here in Kearny Mesa. In addition to San Diego, we have an office in Las Vegas and are planning to open our third location in the Bay Area later this year. Currently, we have over 300 employees, over half of which are right here in America's finest city, and all of which make well above the minimum wage. I am a businessman and a successful CEO with over 20 years of experience turning around companies, many of which were on the brink of bankruptcy, and returning them to profitability. I have real-world practical experience that was earned through real life on the front lines of business. I'm not here today as a conservative or a liberal. I'm not a pro-business think tank or a labor advocacy group. I'm here today as a businessman who knows that it takes committed, productive employees to make a company run and to make it profitable. I can tell you from my own experiences that paying a living wage results in better attendance and less turnover. This is a theme that's been echoed through some of my counterparts here because it's true. This in turn reduces expenses in hiring and training, improves morale, performance, and overall productivity. As anyone who has ever run a business will tell you, these are the key ingredients to profitability. Unfortunately, business leaders from trade associations, chambers of commerce, and even some of my fellow CEOs have come out publicly against slowly phasing in a living wage in San Diego. Let me repeat that. These people have come out against slowly phasing in an actual living wage for members of their own communities and their own employees, who they watch continue to struggle every day despite working full-time for them. I forcefully but respectfully disagree with my business colleagues. Opposing an increase in the minimum wage is a failure to recognize the value of our human resources and the impact they have on our region's economy. From business group think tanks, the most persistent argument is that a hike in the minimum wage means small businesses will make less money, and in turn these businesses will have to collectively lay off thousands of San Diegans, or cut back dramatically in the amount of hours they give their employees. These arguments that are fear-based and meant to incite fear among the people that will benefit from these, continue to ignore today's economic reality. 2/3 of America's low-wage workers are actually employed by large companies with 100 or more employees. Of the 50 largest employers of low-wage workers, think Walmart, KFC, McDonald's, etc. More than 90% were profitable last year. It's hard to imagine how raising the minimum wage would mean employee layoffs or a reduction in hours to any great degree. Another common argument among the opposition to a slow increase in the minimum wage is that a wide-ranging increase in pay will lead to inflation as retailers and others raise prices to compensate for the higher wages they have to pay. That argument actually ignores simple math. Simple math. Take a company like Walmart. The average Walmart cashier makes about $8.81 an hour. In some states, as many as 15% of Walmart store employees make so little money that they actually qualify for food stamps. That's about 40 employees per store. Extend that over the entire company, and the US taxpayer, you, me, is paying about $300 million in food stamps to Walmart employees, all while Walmart is taking in 18% of all food stamp dollars, or $13 billion per year. If Walmart were to pay a wage high enough that their employees would no longer qualify for food stamps, a cashier who is a single mom earning $8.81 per hour would have to make about $13 per hour. This would cost that company $4.8 billion per year. If they chose to pass that increased cost in its entirety onto its customers, Walmart would have to raise their prices by about 1.4%. What would that look like in terms of inflation? It means a box of great value mac and cheese would go from 68 cents to 69 cents. We would pay 1 cent more per box while saving $300 million in taxpayer food stamps subsidies for Walmart employees. That's the kind of inflation I think we can all support and we can all get behind. Surely, though, you can find those statistics on your own. So why am I really here? I'm here speaking today because raising the minimum wage in San Diego, simply put, is good for business. I'll say it again. Raising the minimum wage in San Diego is good for business. Having an engaged, loyal, healthy workforce means increased productivity and lower attrition. It also means saving money and making money. With an increase in the minimum wage, hundreds of thousands of San Diegans, almost 2/3 of which are women, by the way, will now be able to spend more on essential and non-essential goods. It means that single mother who couldn't even afford the simplest of luxuries previously might now be able to spend more at the grocery store, to buy more, and to buy healthier food options for herself and her child. Or they may be able to have a family movie night. Or maybe even have enough money to have a bicycle under the tree at Christmas. In short, it means the kind of increased consumer spending that really drives our economy forward. Thank you again for being here, and thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Roman. Our last speaker is well-respected local economist Alan Jin, and after Alan talks, we'll take questions.
It'll be tough to follow that one, but let me point out that today is actually a pretty big day in terms of economic news. This morning, the Bureau of Labor Statistics released its employment report for May. It showed that we added 217,000 jobs to the national economy, 217,000 wage and salary jobs to the national economy. That means now that the national economy has gained back all of the jobs lost during the Great Recession. Okay, we're finally where we were in 2008. Okay, but that means we still have a long way to go. Okay, we've added a lot of population since then. The unemployment rate remains high at 6.3% nationally. Part of the problem in terms of slowing the growth of the national economy has been a drop in consumption. Personal consumption expenditures are about 1/3 of what they normally contribute to the growth in the gross domestic product. What's happened in this recovery is that we've gained back all these jobs, but a lot of them have been in the low-wage sectors. I don't want to denigrate anybody working in the low wage sectors because they work very hard. But the problem then is that we've lost a lot of middle class jobs and added jobs in these low wage sectors, and that has affected consumption. It has set off a vicious cycle in the sense that consumers are spending less. As a result, businesses are seeing less in sales. As businesses see less in sales, they're not hiring as quickly as they have in past recoveries. And that then sets the cycle off again. You've heard from some really brilliant business people. They know more about business than I do. But despite how brilliant they are, I think that you could be the best possible business person, but if nobody buys your product, you're not going to be successful. And that, again, is one of the problems now that is facing the U.S. economy. There's not enough demand in terms of consumption of products. Raising the minimum wage would help as far as that's concerned. Economists look at a measure called the marginal propensity to consume. If consumers get an additional dollar, how much of that will they spend on goods and services? It's been shown that if you increase wages for people at the low end of the income distribution, almost all that money will be spent in the economy. And then that will be circulated throughout the economy, and everybody up and down the income distribution will benefit from that. People will buy groceries, they'll buy clothes, they'll buy toys. Business people take that money in, they'll go out and spend it. They'll buy cars and houses. And again, there will be benefits all up and down the business, all up and down the income distribution. So workers will be helped by an increase in the minimum wage. Businesses will be helped by an increase in the minimum wage. As was indicated before, taxpayers will be helped by an increase in the minimum wage. You've heard of the discussion of Walmart today, but studies have shown that, for example, if you take a look at the fast food industry, restaurants are going to be the ones that are going to be affected most by a change in minimum wage. It's been estimated that in the period 2007 to 2011, that workers in fast food, in the fast food industry, received about $7 billion a year in aid, in governmental aid, because they make wages that are so low. Okay? So again, increasing the minimum wage is good for workers, it's good for business, it's good for us taxpayers then. And as a result, I think the whole economy will benefit. Thank you.
Thank you, Al. Thank you all. Before we take questions, I'd like to recognize other business owners who are standing in support of the minimum wage proposal. JV Bags and More, the Moore Law Firm, Better Communities Consulting, Deep Down Deep Garden Education, Art Produce, Broke Girls Coffee Bistro, Milestone Running, Mimi and Red, Progress, and Give Something Back. So as you can see, this is a diverse group of small business owners in San Diego who are supporting an increase in the minimum wage. And now we'd be pleased to take questions. Any questions?
I have a question for Gabriel Brister.
Oh, he had to leave. Sorry, we're so sorry. Yeah.
Well, I guess I'll just, what I was going to ask him, and he said and I don't know if any of you could answer this, he said he pays his employees above minimum wage, and I was going to ask if he felt that if the minimum wage increased, he would have to bump up his employees.
Yes.
Yeah, I
Why don't you
certainly
say
take that. Sure.
And if that would have an impact.
Yeah, I mean, in my current business, we have a lot of technical people, so we're paying well above minimum wage, and I don't think it'll have any effect on that grouping. I have my last business, I had warehouse people and call center people and so forth, and we did pay well beyond minimum wage for those jobs, but still, it was there was fairly low-paying jobs in that respect. I've never been concerned about that, nor would I be if I have people at that level again. Simply, I understand the argument that people make of you bring the bottom up, and the inflation happens all the way through. But I think that Alan made the point that the economy gets better when you start paying these lower end people. Well, when the economy gets better, more people are buying stuff, and guess what? We can turn around and pay our people more. So do I think that the wages would probably go up? Yes. Am I concerned about it? No, not at all. Because I think that that's the natural effect, is everything gets better.
Any other questions? Okay. Thank you all for coming.
Sure.